whenever you're ready.
Now we're going to discuss the function set, and this is probably going to be the most important. These are going to be the most important settings. And that button you're going to find right here, and on this camera, it is going to allow you access to the major settings on your camera. In most cases, you're going to find that your camera is set to auto, and the first thing you want to do is set your camera to manual, and that's going to allow you to scroll through these menu options right here. The first one is going to be exposure plus or minus. You might find that when you actually set up your work and photograph it, depending upon how much light you have on your subject, you may need to increase or decrease your exposure there. The next one is very important, and this is your white balance. This is going to tell the camera what type of lighting you're actually photographing your work with. The first selection is going to be auto white balance. The next one is for daylight settings. There's a cloudy setting. Tungsten is important. This would be your standard household light. You would normally be like what bulbs that you would have in a lamp or something along those lines, which are things that are available to you to use to light your projects with. This camera also has 2 fluorescent light settings. Again, if you're using fluorescent lighting to photograph your work, I would recommend that you look at some examples from the fluorescent lighting that you have. See if that setting looks good. If it doesn't, I would go to the next one and try each one of them and see. The last one would be a custom white balance, which isn't something that we're going to talk about. So set your white balance according to the lighting that you're using, and you're going to have much better results with your photographs. Everything's not going to be, the color balances will be correct. The next one in this particular camera is some settings that we won't discuss today. It allows you to make some changes and adjustments in the color balance as well. The next one is pretty important. It's your metering. This one has 3 different selections. It gives you evaluate, which will do the entire scene, a center weighted average, and then a spot metering selection as well. I would say to start with, I would leave it on the evaluate, and it's going to look at the entire scene and make its best judgment as to what it thinks works best. If you need to make changes from that, if you find that your work is too dark, it's making the background look too light and your work too dark, you can make a change to center weighted, have your object in the middle, and that should be helpful when getting the exposure corrected, or spot metering, which will really focus it directly on that. The next setting is going to be the quality setting for your images, and I would recommend that you always have it set to superfine or fine if your camera doesn't have a superfine setting. And the last one is the file size itself, and you always want to be using the largest file size available to you. Look at the pixel count, and you can see that that's the largest file size available, and I would make sure that you select that one at all times so that you have the largest image available in case cropping needs to be done or whatever. And as we've said before, with a 2 GB card, with that you're still going to have 418 images at those settings.